Namaste. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever I find you today. I hope that this finds you well. Thank you for joining me here. This is the first video of many. This will be a 20-day meditation offering. This video is going to be an intro video that discusses body position and other kind of fundamental foundational pieces of a meditation practice to prepare you to move into the 20-day opportunity. That being said, I want to say off the top that I am not a meditation expert by any means, and I will never claim to be. I was called to create this space and to provide this offering. And so for that, I am here. With that in mind, I always say, please do listen to your body and the wisdom that you hold within. So if I cue something or if there's a prompt that doesn't feel right for you, honor that, because your body holds the ultimate wisdom. And part of the practice of meditation is coming into right relationship with your intuition, with that inner voice, and starting to hear it and listen to it and be guided by it. So please do take this opportunity to listen to what is right for you. I'm going to be looking down at some notes. I want to make sure that I touch on everything. So all of these notes that I'm going to be talking about are pertaining to the 20-day opportunity that will be posted subsequently from this video. So there may be things that we explore going forwards beyond what we talk about here. And if that's the case, I will post more information at that time. So to start with, just super basic, let's start with posture. So how we sit when we meditate. For the offerings going forwards, we will be either seated or lying down, if that is something that your body is allowing for at that time. So for seated meditation, one can either be on the ground or on a chair. Either is perfect, and I encourage you to select the one that is best for your body. Our goal is to eliminate distractions from our space so that we're creating the circumstances that give us the best opportunity to turn inwards and to hear that inner voice and to focus. So if we're uncomfortable, that's a distraction that will bring us away from things like concentration on the breath. So with that being said, please choose the seated option that best suits you. When going with a chair, I recommend a dining table style chair, one with a fairly rigid back and seat. When you're going into a couch, you tend to sink in, and the posture, the support in the posture can be lost. So I recommend a more stable chair. Your feet should be on something. So if you need, so maybe I should start with your hips. Your hips should be at knee level or above, so your legs at a 90-degree angle or larger. So that being said, you may need to prop a blanket under your feet to lift your knees up. You may need to put a blanket or a pillow underneath your sit bones to bring your hips up to meet your knees or higher. So whatever you need to do to have your hips above your knees, and then after that, your feet should be planted on something versus dangling. It'll be easier to ground in this way, and less distraction, easier to find stillness. And when we're seated, if you're sitting on the ground, you may choose to sit in rock pose, so on your heels, knees together. You may choose to sit in easy pose, cross-legged, lotus, half lotus. Do what feels right, what your body is called to do. And you can reevaluate every day. This never has to be the same every day because our bodies change. Like some things are comfortable one day, others you've got a cramp, or whatever. So it really is a beautiful opportunity to tune into what's present currently in your body. And you can reevaluate that every time you sit down to practice. When you are seated, it is recommended that your chin is slightly tucked. So and this creates a nice direct straight line of your spine. Creates a path of least resistance for energy flow in your body. So you can either tuck your chin and push your chin slightly back so that your ears are in line with your shoulder, or you may choose to think of it as someone's pulling a string right up the back of your neck, and your head just gently tilts forward. This is nothing forced, just a slight tilt. And you may notice that as you're in your practice, you come out of it and you're like this or whatever, and that's okay. Remembering to do what feels right for your body in each moment, and if it feels right to come back to just this tucked position, then do that. For meditation lying down, we lie on our feet, we lie on our back with our feet falling naturally apart. Arms at our sides, palms up or down, whichever feels correct for you. Maybe it's a mix. And one might choose to take a bolster if you have one, also a pillow, a rolled up towel, a blanket. You can tuck it under your knees as you lie down. That provides some lower back support. You may also choose to take that chair that you're using for meditation, and actually as you're on your back, you place your calf muscles on the chair. So your legs are at a 90-degree angle on the chair seat. That's another way to support your low back as you're lying down. So when we're in any position, whether it's seated or lying down, being in stillness can help to still the mind. So if you feel the need to move, I invite you to take on that movement with purpose. So as soon as I come into stillness intentionally, something crops up for me. Something gets itchy, something's tingling, something needs to shift, I need to move, right? And that's, I think that for me, that's just my body is responding to this intentional stillness. I'm moving to balance that somehow. So with that being said, if that's present for you when you come into stillness and you feel an itch arise, I encourage you to explore remaining still in spite of that stimulus. Because this is the practice of meditation. When a thought arises in our mind, we're actively choosing to not engage. So when we sit in stillness and a sensation arises in our body that's calling for our attention, the practice is to observe it without judgment and choose not to engage with it. Just observe it, same as we do our thoughts. So I encourage you to practice that. And if you need to move because your body is saying, I'm going to take care of this right now and I need to, then listen to that wisdom. Keep in mind the difference between your body's intuition and your body's reactionary behaviors, because those are two very different things. Your intuition is always correct. Your reactionary behaviors and calls to respond, that's an opportunity to play. And you may choose to take that. In terms of your gaze, you may choose to either have your eyes fully closed, This can reduce external stimuli and help to focus on perhaps whatever you're concentrating on, or just help to stay still in the mind. Alternatively, eyes closed can cause discomfort for some people because they can't see what's going on, like a feeling of safety and security might be a question. Also, if your mind is extremely busy, it may actually help to open the eyes because you're bringing into your awareness one thing. So if you choose eyes open, I invite you to play around with a downcast gaze, whether it be looking to your cheekbones, looking to your nose, looking to the floor in front of you. Just because when we've got our eyes open and up, we may be called to look around, and that is introducing a lot of opportunity for distraction, which creates a challenging practice. So I invite you to look down and have one thing in your focus, and let that be what you're looking at, with a soft gaze. So the types of meditation that we're going to be doing over these 20 days vary. There's 3 that we're going to be looking at. So the first is a concentration meditation. So this is the practice of taking one point of focus, whether that be your breath, looking at the flame of a candle. It could be a repetitive sound from an instrument like a drum or a rattle. It could be the repetitive sound of your voice through the use of mantra. So all of these are beautiful ways to bring and hone in your awareness onto into one thing in particular. And then as you notice your awareness and your focus deviating from that one source, the actual practice of meditation is noticing that and bringing your awareness back. So that's concentration meditation. The second is mindfulness meditation. So that's where we actually step back. We step back behind our mind and watch as thoughts arise and float by. And the goal, the practice of this meditation, is to not attach to those thoughts, to not go into them and go down that journey, that path with that thought. It is to simply, without judgment, think of yourself as a third party, an unbiased third party, simply to observe a thought arise and let it go without any attachment. So the practice here is, when you notice that you've attached to a thought, to come back, to step back, and to continue to gently and without attachment observe thoughts arise. The third type of meditation is a movement meditation, and this is where we use very, very intentional and specific movement in our body to focus our attention and to observe what is present with very specific movements. It's not a lot of movement at once, very specific movement, and we use that as a strategy to focus our attention. So the length of the meditations that we do for these 20 days is going to be anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes. So plan your time accordingly. If you're watching this, obviously you'll be able to see the amount of time in the video, so that's perfect. I will do a little bit of introduction information in each. It won't be too long, but if it is substantial in any way, I'll put a timestamp on the on the meditation so that if you choose to, if you're short on time, you can skip the intro and start right where the meditation starts. That being said, the intro information can be important in that it provides some context to the practice. So I would encourage you to invest the time in yourself and take the time for the whole offering. And the final thing that I will say on meditation in general that has been very important in my personal practice, two aspects coming in out the gate. The first is that I choose to come into practice every day without an expectation of any kind of outcome, without an expectation of what is going to happen. Expectations are distracting, and they often lead to disappointment. If I come in with this grandiose idea of what's going to happen when I meditate, I find that I'm so focused on that I don't even practice properly. And then I don't even practice properly, so then I'm never going to achieve that outcome, right? So I choose to come in with absolutely no expectations and no goal or outcome associated every time I come to sit to meditate. And this is a strategy that really serves me and that I feel will really serve you if you choose to come in with the same lack of outcome in your practice. We sit here in meditation to love on ourselves, to get to know ourselves, and just to be for a little bit without anything external to us. And it can just be that simple. If you come into this practice with an open heart to yourself, it will serve you in whatever way you need to be served by it. So, expectations. The second thing that's very important to me in my practice is a lack of judgment. No judgment. So my mind is wandering every, I don't even know how many minutes because my eyes are closed, but say I feel like my mind's wandering every 10 seconds, like I'm finding myself caught in a thought. That's a time where I get to love on myself so hard for witnessing the fact that I actually notice that my mind is wandering. Like, that's the whole point of this practice. It's not to have no thoughts in your mind at all. The whole point of this practice is to notice, to have awareness when your mind is wandering and bring it back to the present moment. So if you notice that your mind is wandering, I encourage you to not judge yourself or to be hard on yourself for that, because that's the whole point of this practice. That's why we sit here and do this. The mind is meant to have thoughts. It's not meant to be nothing. So what we're trying to do is create awareness. And every time you notice your mind wandering, you're fostering that awareness and you're getting better at it. So there's just really no space, there's no reason to be negative on yourself or hard on yourself for that at all. So yeah, no judgment for yourself. And that extends outside of practice too. If you don't make time for practice in a day, don't judge yourself. Just be easy on yourself. It's okay. It's okay. So those are the two biggest keys in my practice, and I hope that they serve you as well. Last piece, regarding these next 20 days, I'll just share with you a little bit about what we'll be doing. So these 20 days will be beautiful opportunities to foster a practice with meditation, and we're going to be exploring all three of the types of meditation that I've just talked about. So movement, mindfulness, and concentration meditation. So my intention is that you will be exposed to quite a few different things, and that you can leave whatever doesn't serve you and take what does serve you into continuing your own personal practice. So the themes, as it were, that we'll be working through are the body chakras. So we're going to start at the first chakra, the root, and we're going to work our way up through the 7 chakras, and we'll do 3 days per chakra. And we will also be incorporating some of the lunar energy at this time through these particular 20 days. Now, if you're watching this after the 20 days, that's perfect too. I will note which lunar energies we are specifically working with in those specific videos. It won't be every day. And you may choose to rewatch or to wait to watch and complete that meditation when we come to that energy in the lunar cycle when you're coming to watch now. So there's definitely opportunities to tune into your body's energy centers. There's opportunities to tune into the lunar energy, and just to take some time for yourself. So with that being said, I'll leave that here, and please hop on to the next video. I will link it, and head to day 1 of meditation. So much love to you. Again, I'm so grateful that you are here, and I do hope that you express some gratitude to yourself for being here also. I invite you to do that. So much love to you. I'll see you soon.